Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hope is all is well. If I said that right, I'm feeling well and schwell as well. If I could talk, let's get this out while we can. I wasn't going to make another video on the Pope because I think so many other channels are doing precisely that. But I found this interview of the Pope's brother, and I just love this interview because it provides a kind of down to earth feel. You can kind of see the Pope and how he grew up and how his family actually think about him. Uh, so let's go ahead and watch this, and then afterwards, I will provide some concluding remarks. This was very, very just enlightening about who the Pope is in his family life, and his brother was a principal in a Catholic school for quite a while. So he provides some interesting takes and nuances about the personal life of the Pope. Check this out.
First of all, how are you feeling right now that your brother
it's too unreal. I haven't had time to think about it yet because this is what it's been since it was announced. The phone calls, the texts, the emails, the iPad stuff. So it's been nonstop. So really, I haven't had a moment to think about it. But it's totally unreal, totally surreal. And it's a tremendous, tremendous thing to take in, but it's something to be very proud of.
And you said you spoke to him right before conclave.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what that conversation was like.
Really? First we do Wordle, because this is a regular thing, okay? Then we do Words with Friends. It's something to keep his mind off life in the real world. And then we talk about what's going on, and I said, well, do you have your red socks? That doesn't go over well all the time. And then just that kind of stuff. And I said, well, are you ready for this? I said, did you watch the movie Conclave so you know how to behave? And he had just finished watching the movie Conclave. So he knew how to behave. So it's that kind of stuff because I wanted to take his mind off of it, and laugh about something, because this is now an awesome responsibility.
Was there a feeling that this could happen?
There was a slight feeling. He didn't think so. I kind of did, because what I was reading and what I was hearing was that there were 3 outstanding candidates that were in first, second, and third place: the Cardinal from the Philippines, the Secretary of State, and him. And I don't know how true it is, but one of the priests from Providence over there in New Lenox said to me, the odds in Las Vegas are 18-1 that it's going to your brother. I said, oh, you got to be kidding. He said, no, that's what it is. He didn't have a question in his mind. He knew it was going to happen. So it had to happen just because he said it was going to happen. I didn't believe it, and Rob didn't believe, I should say Pope Leo didn't believe it at all, because there's not going to be an American Pope, was the attitude.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about childhood. Where did he grow up, and what was it like?
We all grew up in Dalton. I think it was just a normal childhood. There's not a whole lot I could tell you about him, because he left to the Augustinian Seminary right out of 8th grade. He went right from high school seminary, and then Augustinian College at Villanova, and then the year of theology. So he wasn't home a lot, except for like summer vacations. So during the year, there really wasn't a whole lot. Like his high school years, I don't know anything really.
Mm-hmm. How often would you get to see him?
Christmas vacation, Easter vacation, and summers,
mm-hmm.
which was sometimes enough.
Mm-hmm.
Our poor parents, 3 boys.
So it's you. You're in the middle,
mm-hmm.
and then the youngest.
Louis is the oldest, and the Pope is the youngest.
Is the youngest.
Uh-huh.
So any older brotherly advice you
for
might
him?
impart to him? Yeah. Not that you've been a pope before.
It's usually the other way around. He gives the advice to us, but to him, advice to him, I would just say, be yourself, because then he's got it made.
I know your parents aren't here to
Correct.
experience this. How do you think they would feel about this news?
I think they would be speechless. I think they would be extremely proud. They only got to see him get to priest. They never saw the bishop. They never saw the cardinal. But they did go visit him in the missions in Peru. They did go down there to visit him in that work, and they were very impressed with what he was doing down there.
And he got that calling at a very young age. What was that process? Were you paying attention to that as that was all was going on? I mean, to go to seminary,
He knew that before then. I think he knew it by first grade that he was going to be a priest. And there was no question in anyone's mind. I think the question that our parents had was, would you be a diocesan priest and work at a parish, or would you be an order priest? Which he chose Augustinian. He could have picked Loyola, Jesuit, or he could have picked Franciscan. For some reason he went Augustinian. That was the only question that was in people's minds: what order priest?
what was your feeling like? Because what's the age difference between the two of you?
A year.
A year. So it's just a year.
Mhm.
What was your feelings when he made that decision to go?
It was just a normal thing. It was just, we knew it was coming, and so it wasn't a shock. I think more than being a shock, I think it was, we're going to miss him, because we drove him to Holland, Michigan, and unpacked. The ride going home was horrible in terms of sadness, because he's gone.
How do you feel now that he's elevated to this position that is
It's
so influential?
in a sense, it's also sad, because I think his life as he knew it, or as we all knew it, is gone. I mean, he was coming home in August. He was coming home in August for 3 weeks vacation. I always put him up on the roof because I can't reach the branches. That isn't going to happen anymore.
When do you think you're going to get to see him again?
We're scheduled to go to Rome tomorrow till Tuesday, so he doesn't know we're coming. So I don't know how easy it will be to track him down. And will they let us track him down? I don't know. So I'm hoping sometime tomorrow or over the weekend, because then, are they going to let him come over here?
Oh my gosh! What would it be like visiting you
That's
now?
right. Look at it. It's just me now, and now look at it with all these other people. So I don't know. But of course, he's Pope. He could tell him what he's going to do, right?
All right, we'll go ahead and leave it there. I just think it's so great to reflect upon the fact that the Pope is a person. The Pope is a human. He has a very big responsibility to fill, but he had an upbringing. He has brothers and sisters. He has a family. And I think that that is perfectly personified within this interview of his brother. I think it'll just kind of shed a little bit of a different light on Pope Leo by hearing this interview from his brother. And I mean, it is kind of sad that he can't really come home anymore and trim the branches on the tree, because apparently he's the one that can reach. And I don't know if they're going to have their weekly get together where they play Wordle. And I really hope that he behaved himself as he watched Conclave in order to know how to behave himself in a conclave. It's a fun, hilarious take, really, a behind the scenes look of what growing up, what the Pope was like. And again, I think it's just a great theological reminder that the Pope is a person just like you and me, and we all have our roles to fulfill within God's greater redemptive purposes in this world. So you are a person too, and you are in God's world, and God wants to use you in the same way that he uses the Pope. Obviously, it's different capacities, but it still is a divine vocation, a divine calling. All right, be thinking about that today. I really enjoyed this interview. I find his brother to be open and honest as much as he can be. I mean, obviously, it's a vulnerable spot where you're not going to share all sorts of details, but I think that this interview was a great little insider access into who the Pope is, how he grew up, and the family that he had. All right, that's all I have for this video. See you in the next one. Peace.